Well, today's episode is going to be a little interesting. As you know, as we speak, we have the Stardom show, Stardom times Stardom, whatever, taking place. But however, we're going to continue with some of the matches taking place for the 5-star Grand Prix. So this one took place in Kyoto just recently on the 8th of August. Then we move on with the latest ChocoPro show, 325, with three interesting matches. The main event being Mochi Natsumi taking on Miya Yotsuba, who they encountered on various occasions. So we'll see how this match turns up. And of course, we go with New Japan Pro Wrestling, where we have the semifinals of the G1 Climax. Tetsuya Naito faces against Will Ospreay, a guy he hasn't beaten yet. And of course, we have Evil, who is determined to get to the top, but he has to go through one of the best wrestlers in the world, Kazuchika Okada, the Rainmaker. And then we finally go up to Collision, where we have, of course, the Acclaim in action. Um, we also have the Trios titles on the line and plenty others. And of course, we have some news updates to tell what's been going on in the world of pro wrestling. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to the Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, welcome to those who are new to this channel. Hope you guys enjoy every review we throw in here. So if you like this channel, please subscribe to us. We'll be throwing a lot of reviews from various promotions. But if you like this episode, please click a like or leave a comment down below. So let's get started with our very first review. This one is from Stardom in Kyoto for the 5-star Grand Prix that recently took place on the 8th of August. Now, our opening match, we feature Hanako teaming up with the members of Queen's Quest, Hina and Lady C, taking on the members of God's Eye, consisting of Ami Sori, Saki Kashima, and Mirai. Now, you probably will say this will be a much easy match for God's Eye, because X Factor is this: Hina and Lady C have a bit of the much 3-year experience with the promotion. However, Hanako, who's just barely new, has always been played out to play that part. So basically, it will fall in favor to God's Eye when Mirai applied the Scorpion Deathlock, giving them their win. Next up, we have a 3-way tag team match. We have stars consistent of Momokogo and Saida versus Oedo Tai, consistent of Rina and Natsuko Tora versus Yuna Mizumori and Tam Nakano. Now, this was a very interesting matchup because, there's no storylines, but sooner or later we know Tam will have to come across Natsuko Tora during the 5-star Grand Prix. But nonetheless, it was, of course, Tam Nakano who picked up the win when she applied the Don Don Tam, which is like a like similar to the Road to Valhalla by Taya Valkyrie onto Momokogo and picked up the win. But what's interesting is that Tam went to talk to Momo. Now, Momo has been in frustrations knowing that she has losing. There are those who even spoken about saying that it's only a matter of time until Momokogo makes the decision to leave Stars and joins Cosmic Angels. Now, I don't know if that would ever happen, because the last time she was played reverse psychology to join the Cosmic Angels, she declined. But anything is a possibility in the future. So we'll get to that at some other point. Next match, we have Queen's Quest, consistent of Miyu Amasaki and Azumi, taking on Club Venus's Waka Tsukiyama and Mina Shirakawa. Now, at some point, we do know that Mina will come across Azumi in a 5-star Grand Prix, since they're both in the same block together. But it was very interesting that it was Azumi who picked up the win when she applied the diving foot stomp onto Waka, giving them the win. However, at the end of the match during the promo, Azumi decided to throw in a very interesting promo, talking that of course this is um, Amasuki's hometown, but it turns out she's not the only one from Kyoto as well. There's also Hanako. So she said that maybe in down the road they would like to see two natives of the Kyoko from the city of Kyoko face off one another. And of course, it was something I'm sure the people of Kyoko would definitely love to see, and definitely I would see it too if I was in their position too. But nonetheless, that's how it is. Now, our next match we have stars consistent of Hanan, Koguma, and Azuki taking on Mega Bane, Mei Sita, and Tekla. Now, this is the first time Tekla's teamed up with Mei Sita and Mega Bane. Now, we know that both Micah and Julia are currently in their respective matches for the 5-star Grand Prix. But in the end, of course, this match fell into favor with Mega Bane picking up the win, doing the F5 on Hanan. However, many people are saying, can Tam pull off a nickel against Mega Bane? All we can do is wait and see until it happens. Now, our very first match, we jump into the Blue Stars of the 5-star Grand Prix. First, we have Momo Watanabe taking on Micah. Now, these two are no strangers to each other. Momo has defeated Micah before, and the obvious question does tell: can she do it again? But one thing I did see is that Momo really was very smart to try to worn out the arm of Micah, which of course is where she throws in her power. Of course, Momo took advantage of it, tried to wipe it out as much as possible, but she was able to put away Micah with the Peach Sunrise and giving her her next win. So right now, Momo Watanabe has with 2 wins, which a total of 4 points. Micah only has 3 points with 1 win and a draw. So basically, that's how it is for now. Now, our next match, this was a very interesting one. We have Mariah May of Club Venus taking on Julia. I have to say, this is a pretty amazing match because these two, they never faced off each other, but this was more like a dream match to many. And of course, Mariah put up a lot of the effort to put away Julia, but Julia in the end was the one who walked out as the victor when she applied the Glorious Driver. And this ends with her winning 5 points with 2 wins and 1 draw. As for Mariah May, she only has 2. Now we jump into the Red Star blocks. So, yeah. The Red Star block. Our first, we have Natsupoi versus Sudi. Now, this is not the first time these two have come across each other, or they have bumped into each other. If you guys remember clearly from their history, both Natsupoi and Sudi were part of DDM a long time ago. Sudi left DDM in March of 2022 due to the fact of her being underrated, couldn't take the behavior of Julia, and of course forming her own unit and becoming the leader of God's Eye. As for Natsupoi, we all know what happened on July 9th of 2022. She betrayed Julia by super kicking her and aligning herself with Cosmic Angels and becoming successful with Tam Nakano. Now, last year's 5-star Grand Prix, Natsupoi was unable to defeat her, but she always viewed Sudi as a big sister. And of course, it tells like the story that Natsupoi is gaining stronger. She wants to prove that she's strong. Many people, I think Julia must have thought in her own mind when she was still with DDM that she was the weakest link in the group. But Natsupoi has shown how much she has grown since then. And I think that's an important thing. However, the match ended in a time limit draw. But Natsupoi, during her little promo, told Sudi that she's getting close to being the strongest. Sudi was willing to say, you had a 15-minute time limit draw, but however, you are getting closer. So Sudi is willing to see that. But they said they will come across each other one again at some point. They really wants to do this, and of course, I think Sudi is very proud of Natsupoi, how much stronger she has gone, and I think that's always the story. Natsupoi was looked at as the weakest link due to her shortness, but she is, to me, watching her, she is so determined to prove that even for someone her size, she's stronger no matter what. So we'll see how her progress at the 5-star Grand Prix will progress. But however, for the point system, Natsupo walks away with 5 points with 2 wins and a draw, and Suri with 3 points with 1 win and a draw. Now our main event is Zu Suzuki and Mayu Iwatani. Now this is not the first time these two have come across each other. They have bumped into each other before last year's 5-star Grand Prix. But however, the obvious thing is now, Zuzu has one thing in mind. Mayu has something that she definitely wants, and that is the IWGP Women's title. Now, if she beats her for this match, she can actually cash in an opportunity for the shot of the IWGP Women's title at any given time. But however, Zuzu was being more rough, and of course, Mayu had to pull up a lot of her effort to try to stand up to her no matter what. But in the end, it was, of course, Mayu with the stage 2 Dragon Suplex to pick up the win. So I have to say Mayu picked up the win by walking away with 4 points with 2 wins. As for Zuzu, she only has 2 points with just 1 win. So far, she already had many losses. She cannot afford to lose another one. But we'll see how she progresses in the future in the 5-star Grand Prix. I believe that's pretty much it right now with Stardom's 5-star Grand Prix. Let's move on with ChocoPro. Okay, ChocoPro 325. Now for the note, Balinaki is not present at this time. He's currently down in Mexico participating with the CMLL Grand Prix. Just to let everybody know in case anybody's wondering. So let's get started. Now our opening show starts with Mei Suruga, as always, doing her little thing, giving the lowdown of all their matches. Now, our very first match, we have a 3-way match. We have Munetatsu Nakamura versus Masahiro Takanashi versus Chonchiru. Now, anything could possibly go in a different direction when it comes to these 3-way matches. Now, you know that one person can be removed as possible. You know there'll be some alliances, but in the end, it was Chonchiru with the bridge onto the wall that pinned Nakamura to pick up the win. So it was a much easier one, but I'm sure Takanashi is not happy with the results, but it is what it is. Now our next match, this was a very interesting one. I think this is one of the ones I enjoyed between them two. Chiko Shikawa teaming up with her teammate Sayaka to take on Mei Suruga and Sayaka Obihiro. Now, some of you may ask me, why is this? This is a really good match. Now, Chiko Shikawa and Sayaka have been a very formidable tag team for a while now. They have proven their worth many times. Now, I've often talked about Sayaka, how much she has grown, how much she has developed, the aggressiveness, and I think that's pretty much it. And I did say that they were going to challenge for the Agent Dream tag team titles, but unfortunately they never did. And I still believe they can win those tag titles. But the only thing is, you got Mei Suruga, who has far more better wrestling experience than these two. The same thing with Sayaka Obihiro. But one thing was amazing is that they were able to separate Mei Suruga from Obihiro for Chi and Sayaka to pick up a win by double pinning Obihiro just like that. I have to say, it's only a matter of time until these two make their way back to the Agent Dream Tag Team titles picture, so we'll see what happens. Now our main event, this is between Miya Yatsuba versus Mochi Natsumi of Prominence. Now, it's very interesting that these two have come across each other on various occasions, either in singles competition or tag team competition, but I'm sure they have stumbled upon each other. But I have to say, this is one of the most different matches I've seen with Miya. Miya, who's been with the promotion for almost a year, has grown up. It's only a matter of time until she finally gets her first win. And I have to say, she really put up a good fight against Mochi Natsumi, but unfortunately, she got planted in the face by the X Factor by Mochi and picked up the win just like that. So, can't wait to see what Mia can do in the future. Now, as you know, our Junkin tournament, this was a very interesting one. Of course, Sayaka was one of those who could have gone into the finals, but no, she got eliminated by Mei Suga near the semifinals. But in the end, it was, of course, Masa Takanashi that picked up the win. So it's very fun. Can't wait to see what's going to happen next week. Don't know when Balanaki will be making his return, but it'll be a lot of fun. So I think that's pretty much it what we have for now with ChocoPro. Let's move on with New Japan Pro Wrestling. Okay, New Japan Pro Wrestling, G1 Climax. This is day 18. Now, we have the semifinals of the match. Now, we will get to those in a bit. Now, our opening match, we have Hayata and Keito Kiyomiya, both representing Pro Wrestling Noah, taking on Master Wato and Hiroyoshi Tenzan. Now, those who don't know, Wato has been under the tutelage of Tenzan since he made his return from excursion down in Mexico a couple years ago. But the obvious thing is, can they handle a couple of outsiders who are not natives of New Japan? But however, this was a very interesting matchup. Now, if Wato would have pinned Hayata, he would have had an opportunity to challenge for the GHC Junior Heavyweight title. Hayata is one of the best Junior Heavyweight competitors in Pro Wrestling Noah, but however, that did not go into that factor. It was, of course, Kato Kiyomiya with the Shining Wizard onto Tenzan to pick up the win. Now, our next match, we have Toma Akihama and Shota Umino taking on the members of Strong Styles, consisted of Minoru Suzuki and Ren Narita. Now, as you know, the collision between Narita and Umino has been very strong since they both returned from their respective excursions. When Umino ended up going to Rev Pro, as for Narita, he ended up being in at the LA Dojo with Shibata. So I have to say it was a very interesting dilemma. But however, it was Narita with the Cobra twist on Hamna to pick up the win. So basically, we'll see how Narita is. We know that Suzuki has questioned him recently. Is he beat up from the 5-star Grand Prix? So looks like he's doing fine for now, but we'll see how that rolls up. Next up, we got the members of Chaos teaming with Makabe. We have Toru Yano, Yoshihashi, and Goto taking on the members of Bullet Club, consisting of Gabriel Kidd, Alex Coughlin, Chase Owens, Kenta, and David Finlay. So, as you know, there are moments you could say that they still will target the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champions, but no. In the end, it was, of course, what's his name, David Finlay with the Into the Oblivion on Makabe to pick up the win, giving the Bullet Club, the War Dogs, their due. Now, our next match, we have the United Empire, consistent of Hinare, Great Okan, and Jeff Cobb taking on the members of LIJ, Yota Tsuji, Bushi, and Shingo. I have to say this is a very interesting matchup because Tsuji has shown his resiliency, why he smiled, while he is a much bigger deal in New Japan. I'm sure that the other members of United Empire would probably look at Yuta. There's nothing Yota Tsuji. There's nothing special about him, but he is one of those wrestlers that has been making a deal since he first came back from his excursion. But in the end, it was, of course, the full Nelson lock onto Bushi by Hinare to pick up the win. Now, our next match, this was a very fun match. We have Ryosuke Taguchi, Eddie Kingston, Tomohiro Ishii, and Hiroshi Tanahashi taking on TMDK, consistent of Kosei Fujita, Shane Hayes, Mikey Nichols, and Zack Sabre Jr. Now, there were some good moments in this match you probably wouldn't have been, but however, you know the coach would like to throw on some plays. But there are some good moments where, of course, you'll see Eddie Kingston doing his part. He even was able to pick up the win when he applied the back fist onto Kosei Fujita, giving them the win. However, he was viciously attacking the post-match against Hinare. Now, Hinare hasn't forgotten the loss he had against Kingston, but however, Kingston did say that he's willing to defend the New Japan Strong in anywhere. That means if it's in New Japan or New Japan Strong or possibly in AEW. So he's always saying it's my time. But the thing is it really his time, or he's going to get another time where he gets his ass whooped? Well, we don't know. So we'll see how that turns out. I'm sure Eddie Kingston is not going to forget. He's definitely going to bring the fight to Hinare and make him wish he never attacked him. Now, our next match, another fun match, we have El Phantasmo teaming up with the entirety of the Gorillas of Destiny, Yado, Hikuleo, Tangaloa, and Tamatanga to take on just 5 guys: Doiki, Kanemaru, Taka, Taichi, and Sonata. I have to say, really fun match. I think it was a pretty good one, not to mention seeing Phantasmo, who at one time he decided to stab the God after they were excommunicated from the Bullet Club, and now that he's in that predicament, they were willing to put their past behind them and move forward. And I think that's, many people are saying, is this mean that Phantasmo could be the next member to join God? I mean, we don't know yet if that's the case. I mean, Gorillas of Destiny should become a stable unit. That way it'll be much fun. But in the end, it was LP with the assist to Yado by applying the super kick onto Taka. But it was, of course, Yado who picked up the win by pinfall. However, as soon as the celebration began, it was spoiled with the sudden arrival of the Bullet Club. Bullet Club consisted of Finley, Ghetto, Coughlin, and a gay kid. However, I think this is more of a revenge plot. If you guys remember clearly, David Finley lost to Tamatanga in the 5-star Grand Prix that did not allow him to advance. He was the one person he was able to defeat. So you probably can guess that this war between them is not far from over. So we'll see where they're going to go with that. Now, our next 2 matches are the semifinals of the G1. First one, we have Evil versus Kazuchika Okada. Now, you know, in these type of matches, when it comes to Evil, he has his little minions with him. The House of Torture, we're talking about Sho, Yujiro, and of course Big Togo. But none of that worked in their favor to take out Okada for, of course, Evil to advance in order to obtain the one belt that he desires, which is, of course, the IWGP World Heavyweight title. But however, it was the Rainmaker that made a difference for Okada to advance into the finals. Now, our next match we have is Tetsuya Naito versus Will Ospreay. I have to say, this was a very interesting match. Now, Will Ospreay has made it this far before. However, last year he was in the finals, but he lost to Okada. He's determined to make it all the way through in order to win this match. However, that did not. I mean, he tried to put Naito away with the Stormbreaker, with the Hidden Blade, with everything that he had in his arsenal. None of it worked. But Naito had to apply many times Destino in order to put away Will Ospreay. And of course, there's that. I'm so excited to see. So Naito finally defeated Will Ospreay when he applied Destino, giving him the win. However, Will Ospreay, in the end of the post-match comments, he made a drastic announcement that the IWGP United States title is no longer valid because he does not represent the flag. He decided to switch it with the IWGP UK heavyweight title. Now, it's still unclear whether the New Japan officials will acknowledge this belt, because I know Will Ospreay was bitching like a little girl because of Naito, this man, because of the whole double crown thing and having the Intercontinental Championship no longer useful. But we'll see what happens down the line. The finals will consist of Naito and Okada. So this is going to be interesting between the two of them. So I'm looking forward to it. I think that's pretty much it for now with New Japan. Let's move on with AEW Collision. Okay, AEW Collision. Now, it opened up with an interview with Ricky Starks. As you know, what happened a week ago, he did the most despicable thing by attacking Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. He felt that he was screwed out of the World Championship opportunity when he pinned CM Punk, so he felt that he got what he deserves. But however, the AEW officials made this choice to suspend Ricky Starks for 30 days. But however, Ricky Starks did state that while he knew that this was going to happen, he decided to obtain a manager license. So that means he will be stopping by at any given time during AEW. So that's kind of interesting that took place. Now, our first match is the Acclaim versus the Iron Savages. I have to say this is the first time we see them since that fateful loss that they had against the House of Black, but also Billy, in fact, made the choice to retire by removing his boots. But of course, the Acclaim did not stop there until they were able to put away by doing a double famouser in honor of Billy Gunn onto both members of the Iron Savages, and 1, 2, 3, it was done. However, the post-match promo, the Acclaim said that they were able to say goodbye to Billy Gunn, but they felt that it's unfair to the fans that they never got to say goodbye. So they asked him if Billy's watching, to do the little scissors. So I thought that was very touching right there. Now, Lexi Neer conducted an interview with none other than Bullet Club Gold. As you know, they're celebrating the fact, but however, whenever it comes to tag teams, especially when it comes to tag team brothers, the Guns take offense saying that nope, 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 sorry, douchebags, we are the real best brother tag team in the world. Well, they called out the Young Bucks. So we'll see how that turns up with them. And that match, I believe, happens next week. My bad, yeah. Now, our next match, speaking of tag teams, we have Willow Nightingale teaming up with her old pal, Chris Statlander, to take on Diamante and Mercedes Moné. Mercedes Martinez, my bad. If you guys remember clearly, Mercedes Martinez lost to Chris Statlander for the TBS title, but unfortunately, Diamante comes out to help Martinez until Will Nightingale showed up to save the day. Now, you probably would have thought in a way this is going to where Nightingale and Statlander would have won the match, but however, the match fell in favor into Diamante and Martinez. It was, of course, Martinez who pinned Will Nightingale, but it gave Diamante to apply a leverage. Now, the obvious thing is this over between both sides? Well, we'll see what happens the following week or possibly the upcoming weeks or so. Now, Lexi Neer decided to conduct an interview with Toni Storm. Now, if you guys remember, Toni Storm, she completely lost it. She feels like she can't live without her belt. Now she's so depressed. So basically, she's thrown a fit with the interviewer. So she completely lost her cool. Now, our next match, we have Samoa Joe versus Andrew Everett. Pretty good match, I have to say. Andrew Everett's an amazing wrestler, but in the end, Samoa Joe put him in the chokehold, choking the hell out of him, and just like that, it was done. However, Samoa Joe, on the other hand, he is yet to hear the response from CM Punk. He's demanding, I want this match between you and me at Wembley Stadium. Now, keep in mind, there's a lot of thing on CM Punk's plate, but we'll see what goes on until then. Now, here comes Christian Cage along with the real TNT champion, Luchasaurus, even though he claims that he's the real one, to go out and brag about Darby Allin. As you know, he's saying Darby Allin is completely distracted due to outside stuff. But however, Arn Anderson hasn't forgotten what happened the last time. If you guys remember, it was, of course, Christian Cage that sent his dinosaur to attack Arn Anderson. But of course, it turned in the next match in for the TNT title again between Luchasaurus and Brock Anderson. But of course, it was the big lariat by Luchasaurus to pick up the win. But right in the end, here comes Darby Allin, who hasn't forgotten what happened last time. I'm sure they're going to come across each other. But he did say that next week on Collision, he wants Christian Cage. So we'll see what happens till then. Now, our final interview in the ring, we have Powerhouse Hobbs. He talks about what he plans to do in All Out, but he felt that there's a part of the chapter that he read is called Redemption. So he feels that he needs to redeem himself, so he calls the Redeemer Miro. But all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Nick Comoroto and Aaron Solo showed up. Now, if you guys remember clearly, Solo attacked Miro. Why was that? So, but it's still unclear whether Hobbs knew this is gonna about, because we know that QT is afraid to lose Hobbs because he always been kissing up to his ass many times. But we will see Miro facing off Hobbs in the future, so we'll see what turns out. Now, our main event is the AEW World Trios titles between the House of Black, Black King, and of course Matthews taking on CMTFR, Wheeler, Harwood, and CM Punk. I think this was a pretty good match, not to mention. However, this match ended with a very interesting twist. Samoa Joe comes out and attacks CM Punk, who's demanding this match, but in the end, it was Brody King with a lariat onto Harwood to pick up the win, and like that's how it is. But we have to hear what CM Punk has to say about Joe, who's demanding to have this match at Wembley Stadium by the end of by this month. So we'll see what happens until then. I think that's pretty much it what we have for our reviews. Let's move on with our final thing, news updates. Okay, welcome to our news update. So let's get started. Our first one is from an update from West Coast Pro for the From the West Coast with Love that takes place in September 10th. Two matches have been announced. The first one is Alpha Zoe versus Tiger Style Lee Moriarty. But also the next match that was announced for this particular show, the West Coast Pro Championship, will be on the line. Titus Alexander defends it against Daniel Garcia. Now, this is a very interesting announcement. It was made by All Japan for the All Star Junior Festival USA. It was announced for our 34th entrance. Rio 1, better known as Enzo Amore, will be. Now, this is a very unusual thing. Now, we know in the past this Enzo Amore has been the kind of guy who rubs people, especially promoters, the wrong way. I don't know if this was a smart choice by Rocky or Hirma, whoever decided to book him. But this is a really risk for them to use. I mean, we know Enzo, what he's capable of. Now, interesting match has been announced for Sendai Girls BIGSHOW on the 2nd of September. We have Red Energy consistent of Mika Iwata, Yuki Takase taking on our favorite pirate princess, Kairi, and of course, her partner is none other than Asuka, better known as Veni. Now, October, we do have the upcoming Tokyo Yoshi Pro Wrestling Wrestle Princess 9. One match has been announced. Maki Ito will be in action to take on the Native Beast, Nyla Rose. That's going to be one hell of a match. We definitely don't want to miss it. Now, speaking of Tokyo Yoshi Pro Wrestling, now, if you guys remember clearly, I reported that earlier this year, Tokyo Yoshi Pro Wrestling, along with Oregon promotion Prestige Wrestling, has announced a partnership between them, a working relationship. Now it appears we're going to see collaboration between these two teams, two promotions. They're going to have a joint show taking place on December 14th in LA at the Globe Theater. So if you guys are from the area, you know what this is going to be. This is called the Combat Princess USA. Now, they already announced who's going to participate in the show. We have Maki Ito, Miyu Yamashita, Mizuki, Rika Tatsumi, Taya Valkyrie, Masha Slamovich, Killer Kelly, Sandra Moon, and there's plenty more that will be announced. So that's going to be interesting to watch. Now, for our next update, Evolution Girls, the promotion that's been in a show that's been produced by All Japan Pro Wrestling, has announced that happening right now, the girls will be in action to take on the talent from Pro Wrestling Wave. So this is who they announced the matches that were announced. Miyazaki will be taking on Zones. This is a much of a powerhouse type of match. Next up, we have a technical match. We have um, Sakura Iroda taking on Sunny. And then our next one, we have Kizuna Tanaka teaming up with Chi-Chi to take on Saki and Hikari Shimizu, better known as Galaxy Punch. I'm not sure I'll be able to watch it, but I definitely would love to see this one. Now, finally, Kenoh has some interesting remarks towards Naomichi Marifuji. This is what he said. Marifuji, are you fucking with me? Are you fucking with me? You had a great fight with Jake in the GHC title match. You're still not weak, so why are you sitting there? Come on, get in the ring. What the fuck was this Kenoh rock, paper, scissors at the end? Don't fuck with me. Well, Kenoh apparently has some interesting words of choice towards Marufuji. I mean, Kenoh has always give his honest opinions about what he thinks about wrestlers and pro wrestling in general. When it comes to he often talks about how Kiyomiya is a fake wrestler due to the fact that he was um, voted by Lidet as one of their wrestlers, that sort of thing. But I don't know if those two will ever come have a match, but I would like to see it. And I think that's pretty much it for our news updates. So I believe it's time to call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, we have a lot of wrestling taking place now. As I said before, as we speak, the latest Stardom pay-per-view is taking place. Tam Nakano defends the red belt against Mega Bane. This is going to be a very tough challenge. Natsupoi and Sorino makes their first tag team attempt against Mina Shirakawa and Mariah May. The high-speed title is also on the line. There is a one match for the 5-star Grand Prix between Oedo Tai members, Natsuko Tora and Starlight Kid. I do know there are some shows from Stardom I haven't seen yet. One on day 7. Day 8 hasn't been uploaded yet to Stardom World. There's the Pro Wrestling Noah's N1 victories. I missed a couple of days of those, so I will get to those as soon as possible. Also, same thing with the GCW events. I haven't catched up to those just yet. I know I missed out the Japanese shows and all that. There's the Freedom shows. I haven't seen that too. So there's a lot I have to catch up from here on out. Hopefully I get those in time. I did say I will do special episodes from past events. The first one is the latest one I'm working on will feature Evolution, which is a Yoshi show that has been produced by Suwama and Shingo Sushi Ishikawa from All Japan. So I'll get to those as soon as possible. And of course, there'll be the next Unagi Sayaka watch later, but we'll get to those as soon as possible. So as of for right now, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day.